Hey, my name is RedX. I am a professional Project Melee player, kind of transitioning into Melee, and I've been playing Project Melee professionally for about 2 to 3 years. I've done multiple guides on Link mechanics and Project Melee mechanics such as aerial glide toss, wave dashing, shield dropping, that kind of stuff. So I'd like to kind of do that for you guys in the Melee scene, and for me as well, because it helps me kind of refurbish and learn the techniques, and it helps you guys learn along with me. Beginners, intermediates, experts, it's all good refresher stuff. So today I was going to start off our first video with how do we go about just kind of learning in Melee? How do we improve at the game, or really anything in life, because a lot of this attributes to other aspects of life, which I'm going to get into. So if I go into Training Lab, which I highly recommend, Slippy has been really great for Melee, but there's also Uncle Punch now, which is basically training mode at the level of Street Fighter or those anime fighters like Blaze Blue that you see, but for Melee. So it's a great tool for learning this game and learning how to kind of apply the different techniques and such that you want to. Like you can, in Uncle Punch, you can test much more meticulous situations and just things you're really curious about that you normally wouldn't be able to in Melee. So highly recommend you pick it up. You just need to search Uncle Punch on Google basically and look for his Patreon and subscribe to his Patreon, and then get the Uncle Punch 3.0. Anyway, which is what I have right here. And back to what I was talking about before, the main way to improve in Melee and to train is to think about where you're currently lacking. And if you're a complete beginner, then that means you just lack in all areas and you can pick and choose what interests you, you know? I recommend trying to make training fun for yourself. It doesn't have to be just a, like a chore, right? It's meant to be a fun thing. It's meant to be like improvement is enjoyable, you know? You got closer to beating that one person that gives you a lot of trouble, or you understand a matchup better. These are exciting things, you know? So you don't have to make it like, I have to practice wave dashing 30 minutes every day. You don't. You just kind of go at your own flow. And I have something of a bit of an unorthodox way of training, but I'm going to share that with you now, which is basically try to look for something that you know you're not good at. So I'll give you myself as an example. I was really well known in the Project Melee scene for my projectile play. Like, I'm really good at doing setups, planting bombs everywhere. You know, I practiced this stuff. But one thing I was really bad at was this, which is just dash dancing, is what it's called. And dash dancing is just dash. You can see on the control stick, it's going back and forth in a direction, but in a rhythmic pattern. One thing I like to do when I'm training is use visuals. So there's like this visual of a Pokemon ball in the stage. So I'm like, hey, that kind of looks like the dash dance range, or the range you want to like go back and forth in, right? And then I'm like, okay, and then the white is an area, and then the red's an area, and then I could challenge myself with a little game where it's kind of like a red light, green light, if you've ever played that, where I say gray, and then I have to go in the middle, and then I say white, and I have to be in the white, and then I say red, and I have to go into the red, that kind of thing. And I do this back and forth over and over until I kind of get the feel of it. Now, you're seeing me at a much more practiced state, but I used to be terrible at this. This is how I used to approach this. Like I used to be like, run like that slow, you know? Which brings me to my next point, which is, if you want to try to learn anything in Melee and in life, break it down as much as you can into its simplest forms. And what I mean by this is, there's this technique which is kind of a staple in Melee. It's called the Wavedash. It looks something like this, where basically you're sliding on the ground instead of kind of running, jumping, and moving around as you normally would, right? And this looks like a really complex maneuver, but if you break it down into its smaller parts, it becomes a lot easier. So this is something I learned from actually watching Leffen, and that I've kind of tweaked to fit my own style. But it's basically do an action till it's so ridiculously easy that you can't mess it up, right? So to learn the Wavedash, let's say for instance, it's jump, air dodge, and then jump, air dodge in a direction. That's breaking it down, right? You press up on the control stick, or Y or X, however you jump. I'm kind of weird in that I use tap jump, but that's just something I've practiced and learned. And you do what kind of fits your image, like what you feel comfortable doing. Y and X is recommended by most people, though. I'm just strange, and I acknowledge that. So I jump with tap jump. So jump, and then I'm like, okay, then I need to jump and air dodge by pressing L or R. And then I need to not only air dodge, but then I need to air dodge in a direction. So whether that's straight down, straight up, diagonally, wherever. Just get in the habit of doing that, Jump, air dodge, jump, air dodge in a direction. Really break it down, right? And the reason I'm doing it so high in the air and not quickly is because it helps your body kind of get used to the sequence in itself. So it becomes, the more you do this, the less you'll think, okay, jump. What was jump again? Oh yeah, it's up on the control stick. Air dodge, what was air dodge again? Oh yeah, it's pressing L or R in the air. You're going to stop thinking about the buttons you're pressing eventually, and you'll get more used to just thinking about the term. Which brings me to my next point, which is to really learn something, give it a name. Give it something your brain can be like, okay, this isn't up, then L, then another direction, right? Because that's confusing to the brain. Instead, call it, oh, this is jump, and this is air dodge, and then this is air dodging in a direction. That's very different. And then together, that sequence becomes the Wavedash. And I know this tutorial is mainly about how to learn and stuff, and I was just using the Wavedash as an example. I'll go much more in depth about the Wavedash and different melee techniques as I continue these tutorials. But I just kind of wanted to get my feet wet starting with this one, and to introduce myself, as well as just kind of teach you a little bit. So let me just end this video by saying that I have 3 main things I focus on when I'm improving in Smash, Melee, or in something I'm trying to learn to do in life. And the first big one is focus on not beating yourself up for making mistakes. It's okay, all right? We're human, we're learning. You don't know how to do the thing you're practicing. That's the point. If you knew how to do it, you wouldn't practice it, right? So do not beat yourself up. I've heard time and time again Smash players calling each other trash, or oh bad, or get good, this kind of stuff. That's all nonsense to me. You're not trash. There's just a lot to know, and there's a lot of information to learn, okay? So don't beat yourself up. You're not bad at this game. You just have to practice, all right? And go at your own pace. That's the second part. Go at a gradual pace that feels comfortable to you. This is not about you need to practice 8 hours a day every day until you get it. No, you don't. It's more powerful to practice something for 15 minutes every single day than it is to practice something for 8 hours, 5 days a week. Because your body gradually gets used to it. It becomes part of your routine. And that's what's more important than approaching training with intensity, is approach it with consistency. Leffen backs me up on this in his tutorials, which is you just train for 15-20 minutes per thing, or just whatever you want to work on. And then the third thing to improving, which is something a lot of people struggle with, and I struggled with it too, is where people fall into that trap called plateauing. And to not plateau, basically you have to ask yourself, what am I not good at right now? So someone that's plateauing who's like, oh, my wave dashes are so good, how do I get better? Well, are you good at attacking? Are you good at moving where you need to move? Are you good at shielding at the right time? Are you good at spot dodging at the right time? Are you good at using air dodges? Are you comfortable jumping short, like doing short hops, as they're called, into full hops? You know, there are a lot of techniques to practice in Smash, and all of it builds up to make a player as great as Leffen, Armada, Mango, PPMD, Mewtwo King, you know, IBW, the top level players. Is all these small things they practice build up to kind of level them up, basically. You know, it's weird to think about, but the better you get at movement and techniques in this game, the less you are like your previous self when you played this game. The more you understand the character you're playing. And to be honest, when you get to a certain level with a character and you understand melee mechanics to a degree, the game really does change. Like, I will later go into things like SDI and DI and all that stuff, but that's really core to making Melee as deep as it actually is. But I've been kind of talking a bit longer than I planned, so we're going to end this tutorial here, but let's just recap real quick. So, 3 main things that I want you to take away from this is do not beat yourself up over how long it takes you to understand techniques. Some people pick up techniques faster than others. It's not about intensity. It's not about like you're a loser because you can't do this one technique. You're learning, all right? And then secondly, do not approach training with intensity. Approach it with consistency. It's better to do something 15 minutes every day than it is to do it 8 hours for 5 days a week. The key thing is to do it every day, every single day of the week, even the weekends. And if you make it a short time frame, it's pretty easy to do, right? Like you're like, oh, 15 minutes of my day instead of 8 hours of your day, right? And then the third thing is, if you feel like you're plateauing, that's a good sign that what you're practicing currently is something you're already good enough at, and you need to struggle more. You need to make something a bit harder for yourself. Like, for instance, me and Dash Dancing. Me and Dash Dancing were not friends. I was really, really bad at it. I practiced it for like a week straight for 2 hours each day to get it to where I have it now, you know? It takes time. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will get to them as soon as possible. And also consider dropping by on my Twitch for more tutorials like this, more aid. We can chill if you like, and just an overall good time. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next tutorial. Take care.